I uncovered an ancient recipe that is exceptionally time-consuming, extremely complicated, and legend says it can't be mastered until you've made it 10,000 times. That dish is called Peking duck. But see, I've always been a believer that simplicity is best when it comes to cooking meat. Salt, pepper, and fire is usually all you need. So today, I'm putting that theory to the test. From basic all the way to expert level duck, it's time to find out if simplicity truly reigns supreme, or if making the most excessive duck dish in the world is actually worth it. Let's find out. This right here is a Peking duck, aka the Wagyu of all ducks. But it's not to be confused with Peking duck, the final dish we'll be making. This duck is known for incredible flavor and fat content, and is a lot less gamey than most ducks you'll find. In total, we'll be making 3 levels of duck, starting with the most basic, pan-seared. Pan-seared duck is very easy to make, but it's always a showstopper. And we'll start by gently scoring that fat cap on this beautiful duck breast. Going in one direction like so, then we'll flip it around and continue scoring for that diamond pattern. And you want to avoid going too deep so you don't pierce that meat. I'll keep the seasoning simple with kosher salt, making sure to get both sides. The key is starting in a cold pan, no need for any oil. Tons of that rich duck fat is gonna slowly render out, and we'll leave it on this side for quite a bit of time to develop color. It's been about 6 to 7 minutes. Take a look at all that fat that's already been rendered. And that color is starting to look good. For some extra flavor, I'll add herbs and garlic, then baste in that delicious duck fat. And you guys know how much I hate this word, but this right here is truly that liquid gold. And this is optional, but I'm just adding this weight here for a bit of a more even sear. Nice color on both sides, time to take it off. And this right here is what we're after. Nicely rendered and a super crispy fat cap. And slicing into it, we have that perfect rosy pink medium to medium rare. This is exactly what we want for duck breast. Finishing it off with a little bit of orange zest and smoky salt. We might be calling this one basic, but to me, it's perfection. Achieving this ratio of golden crust to fairly minimal white fat takes time and that relatively low heat. Nobody wants to bite into too much of that super white fat, and that's where levels 2 and 3 of this duck video really shine. Level 2, advanced duck, and for this one, we're gonna dry age. Dry aging duck leads to better flavor and tenderness, but by far the most important thing is it should lead to way crispier skin. The benefits of dry aging really come through specifically in the breast meat, so I'm actually gonna remove those legs and thighs. And we're left with this beautiful crown of duck. And we'll just tie it up around that vertebrae. And just like that, our duck is ready to go into the dry ager for about 8 to 14 days. Now, if you thought I was throwing away those beautiful duck legs, you must be crazy because I'm feeling a snack. Which brings me to the sponsor of today's video, Made In. They have the best products in the game and just released their brand new griddle and griddle press. Made In designs professional quality products for the home cook, and their products are even used at 3 Michelin star restaurants. They're made by artisans who specially curate the shape and materials so that each product is engineered to perfection. Right out of the box, the griddle comes pre-seasoned without any chemicals or coatings. It's naturally non-stick, so we can put our legs right on there. To get full contact with the griddle, I'm also using the Made In griddle press right on top. The griddle can be used outside on the grill, over direct flames, and even indoors on an electric or gas cooktop like we're using here. This thing can heat safely to 1200 degrees, so you know we're gonna get a crazy sear on these. And just check this thing out. Gotta go for a quick bite. Wow, that is incredible. Use the link in the description to try these Made In products and save. And just like that, our 10 days are up. The duck has lost a significant amount of weight, and as you can see, the exterior is super dry, which is exactly what we want. Just gonna trim it up a bit, exposing the breast meat. You can see how the fat is no longer like white and waxy. It's a lot more firm and almost translucent. And we'll just hit it with some oil and just some kosher salt. And into a 425 oven. Our duck has reached 125 Fahrenheit and is ready to go. And as you can see, there's a really nice crisp to it. We'll remove one side with a slice down the middle, following that rib cage as closely as possible. And we'll slice. And you can just feel how much crispier this is. And as you can see, we have a pretty nice medium doneness, and the crispiness over the top is literally like shards of glass. Just completely different than our first duck. There is a bit more of that white fat since we didn't render it on a pan, but because it's dry aged, it should completely melt in your mouth. And time to plate up our level 2 advanced duck. Throw a little bit of that glossy orange sauce right over the top. Now I am so ready to eat this, but unfortunately we have to wait till the final taste test. Time for level 3 expert duck. This is easily the most complicated recipe I've ever attempted. They say it takes 10,000 attempts to get it right. Can we do it on the first try? Let's find out. But I will say Peking duck is probably my favorite food. I had it quite a bit when I lived in China. The first time I ever had it was actually with Mark Zuckerberg. Well, technically I didn't have dinner with him, but I was at the same restaurant as him. But either way, let's tackle this. The first thing we need to do is remove any of those excess feathers. I feel like I work at an eyebrow plucking place. Next, we'll remove some of this excess fat towards the back and really just peel it away. Now it's time we make the spice mix. Cloves, Sichuan peppercorns, star anise, fennel seeds, and a cinnamon stick. It's basically just a homemade 5-spice. This looks and smells perfect. And to our spice blend, we'll grate in some fresh garlic, as well as a bunch of freshly grated ginger. Next, some hoisin sauce, which is gonna give it some sweetness. And finally, we'll season with salt. And we're left with this incredibly flavorful and aromatic, almost like a paste, which is going right inside this duck. Kyle, I just combined quiet and Kyle. Is it Quile? Quile. Time.
Wow.
Time to get handsy, seasoning just the inside of the cavity with that extremely flavorful situation. Now it's time to attempt to sew that cavity shut. We go in again, in, over, in. We'll just break this part off here. Perfect. Now I know this recipe has been a little bit complicated thus far, but fortunately this is where things get way more practical for the average home cook. All you need to do is whip out your industrial air compressor, AKA the Quackmaster 5000. Wait, Sophia, I thought we got the 3000.
I thought we should go bigger.
I like your style. And all you gotta do is get your handy dandy blow up device, insert like so. Okay. Next, we'll turn it on to fill with compressed air. And while that happens, I'm gonna tell you guys my deepest and darkest secret. Cannot believe I shared that with the entire YouTube community, but either way, let's move on. And as you can see, the air comes out just like so. The whole idea is that the air is gonna separate the skin from the meat, allowing it to get way more crispy, I think. We'll add a towel here to seal it in. Let's see what happens. Whoa. That thing just blew up like a balloon. Let's try that again and try to get full separation. Oh my God.
What the?
This is looking a lot better. Look at that. This is like a freaking balloon duck. It does not take making 10,000 ducks to know that that skin has been separated. I'm still sort of mentally processing turning a duck into a balloon animal. Now we need to remove the feet, the wings. Check out the wingspan on this guy. Comes right off through that joint. And our duck's journey continues by boiling some water to make a broth, Sichuan peppercorns, fennel seeds, cloves, more of that star anise, cinnamon, some salt, and soy sauce. With the water boiling, it is time to baste, and we'll just go in like this, pouring it gently over. Now what this is gonna do is add incredible flavor and also sort of tighten up the skin to make it more crispy, at least I think. Oh man, turns out these ducks are extremely heavy. Fortunately, I have impeccable arm strength.
Max, how long I gotta hold this duck? My shoulder's killing me.
Cal, quiet down. And you wanna make sure you get both sides about a couple minutes each. Notice how the color has really darkened up, and it's kind of crazy to me how it's still like completely filled with air. We've plucked, trimmed, seasoned, sewn, inflated, and basted. There's pretty much only one thing I haven't done to this duck yet, and that's paint it, so that's what we're gonna do. This right here is maltose syrup. My first time ever cooking with it. Kind of tastes like candy that's been cooked down, more complex than your typical syrup. That is very good. Into our pot, that stuff is just so thick. We'll add in just a little bit of soy sauce, and we'll just heat it up to make it more paintable. Our mixture is now significantly more paintable, and we're good to go. And now we paint.
We don't make mistakes, we have happy accidents.
We're looking for a nice even coat on all sides, and after the first coat, I'll let it get a bit more firm and add one nice final thick coating. This stuff is gonna give it incredible flavor as well as amazing color, and it is ready for the next step. Now, adding to the convenience factor of this recipe, all you gotta do at home is throw this in your dry ager for 5 or 6 days. You guys all have one of these, right?
One eternity later.
And it has been 6 long days. And I'm gonna be honest, our duck has seen better days. Though I will say the color looks great and it is for sure firmed up. And it is time to smoke the duck. I am just shocked by how many steps there are to make this duck dish. Now we'll add some tinfoil here to completely seal off that smoking chamber. Whip out our mini smoking gun, which I imagine everybody at home watching has. This is truly, I mean, one of the most convenient recipes I've ever made. This is just, it's more so just like a nice weeknight meal type thing, you know? We'll add in our wood, and of course, we're using apple wood. Nothing like just completely filling up your kitchen with a bunch of that sweet, sweet applewood smoke. All I gotta say is this better be the best damn duck of my entire life. I'm gonna once again cover loosely in tinfoil, and we are finally cooking it into a 350 oven.
A few moments later.
It's been about 40 minutes, starting to get some pretty nice color, but we are most certainly not done yet. Now we need to let it hang to release some liquid. So I let this thing cook on a rack to try to get better airflow. The result is that our duck has like a pretty dope 8-pack at this point.
Kind of jealous.
This dripping is exactly what we want to see. It's going to help keep that skin extremely crispy. Looks like Tibby's interested in what's going on too. With a lot of that oil released, it's time to go back in the pan and we'll continue crisping up that skin.
One eternity later.
Well guys, 6 days later and we have finally achieved some beautiful color on this duck, but we are not done yet. So far, this duck has been plucked, trimmed, seasoned, sewn, inflated, basted, dry-aged, smoked, roasted, hung, drained, roasted again, and now we're gonna deep fry it. This recipe is blowing my mind. Our oil has come to temp and it is time to add that last layer of crispiness, but I have to say I am just flabbergasted by what it's taken to get to this point. And I need to know, is anybody watching still at this point? Just let me know in the comments, please. Very careful with the ladle. Ooh, that's that sizzle we're looking for. Now this is what I'm talking about when it comes to color. And the smell coming off this thing is just intoxicating. It's sweet, it's rich. We gotta slice into this. Now there is a traditional way that Peking duck slicing masters slice the Peking duck. They take precisely 108 slices, but I know if I attempt that technique, I'm gonna completely butcher this, so I'm sticking with what I know. So I gotta be honest guys, there is still a very significant amount of that white fat here. And interestingly, that level 1 most basic duck seem to have the most of that rendered. So it'll be very interesting to see which one comes out on top. If this one does not come in first, I'm gonna be a very sad man. And for the final verdict, I'll start over here with level 1, our beginner pan-seared duck. I will say the rendering on this actually looks better than the rest. Very well seasoned and a great crust. It is slightly chewy, but that is phenomenal. Our level 2 advanced dry-aged duck. Even though there's slightly more fat, because it's dry aged, it just completely melts in your mouth. Overall, it's significantly more tender as well. And I have to say, it is way better than the first. And finally, our level 3 expert Peking duck. This one took about 5 years off my life just to make it. Let's see how it tastes. The flavor on that duck is completely off the charts. Wow. Though I will say, by no means is that amazing Peking duck. Like that skin is nowhere crispy enough. If you've had legit Peking duck, you know that that is not the real deal, but flavor-wise, it is phenomenal. Texturally, almost identical to the dry age. Absolutely not worth going through that entire process that we did, though out of these 3, it is the best. Clearly, I have some work to do when it comes to nailing the perfect Peking duck. But either way, really hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time.